Yay, I think we're live. Hi, Gerald, Jamie. There's Patty. All right. Let me play the intro, guys, and we'll go ahead and get started. Hey. Yay, we are live. There's my other Pat. And there's Hetty. Hey, Hetty. All right. Tonight's project, and there's Miss Sue. She's dancing. Tonight's project's pretty quick and simple. If you're a patron or a Ko-fi supporter, you already have this file. It was put up on the exclusive file yesterday, I believe. If you do not, it is a free file for everybody. That design number is 191-700-835. And I know you guys get some exclusive files, but during the holidays I like to try to give out free files for everyone so that nobody is rushing around trying to come up with projects. We will get back into more exclusive for my Patreon and Ko-fi supporters after the holidays. So, anybody have any design space questions or problems with your projects? Please type it out in caps so that the moderators or myself can see it and we can help you out. We are going to cover a little bit of design space before we actually do the project tonight. Because there are several ways to do this project, first of all, and I want to be sure that we cover them all. But I wanted, for some of the new people, I wanted to cover the layers panel because I have several things in this project, such as print and cut and things like that, so that they could fully understand what we talk about when we ask them for their layers panel, screenshots, and all of that. When you're having a problem and things aren't working or you can't find something, if you show us a screenshot, and with a Mac, all I do is hold Command-Shift-4 and it gives me these crosshairs. And I can select the whole area there and snap a screenshot of it. And then I have, let me slide that over, then I have this screenshot that I can post in chat that's a PNG or a JPEG, however yours save. On a Windows computer, you have what is called a snipping tool. I don't know exactly where it is on Windows. If any of you have Windows and you know where it is, please let them know. It's been a while since I've been on my Windows computer, so I don't remember. But that snipping tool is one of the tools you have, and all you're going to do is drag that same box and snip. And then it'll give you the option to save as a JPEG. So when you're posting in the group and you're asking questions, we can see at a glance what your issue is if you provide us with that. It saves you time and saves us time as well. That way you're not sitting around and having us play the 20 questions guesswork. Is it flattened? Is it attached? Is it grouped? Is there something on there? What's the line type? We can see all of that in your layers panel. So select the item that you're having an issue with and you'll see that it grays up, and then do your screenshot and then we can look at that and tell. So in the layers panel, I'm just going to cover really quick yes, you can pin it to your toolbar too, Sue. I just want to go over, I'm not covering everything because we do have the design space units in the Cricut Maker projects, and then we also have a playlist of the Learn Design Space. But I'm not going to cover all of these toolbars and the text toolbars and everything. I just want to kind of show you how to read your layers panel, because guys, this is what's going to make you successful with your machine and your designs. And we're just going to read that like a book. And in your layers panel, you will see here, if you have something grouped, it will say ungroup. If I ungroup it, self-explanatory, really, I select the two pieces, then I'm allowed to group. And what group does, it allows us to move it around on the mat, as you can see I'm doing here, together. I can size it, and it keeps its proportion with the other layers that are with it, because right here we have 3 layers. We have a drawing layer, a cut layer, and another cut layer. 2 different cut layers, 2 different colors, and then your draw. The draw is attached. If I ungroup it, you can see that the draw down here, I have detach. It is attached. It needs to be attached so when we send it to the mat. But as far as your grouping goes, let me align and center that and group it back so you can see. And you can see that I can move this all around the mat and play with it and size it and then hit make it. But when I hit make it, you will see it separates it. They do not stay together. They're separated. And this one, because I rotated it 90 degrees, when I attached my writing to it, it's staying at that 90-degree angle. But they originally came in both at this angle. So that's why a lot of people say, well, I rotated it and it didn't stay rotated. If you don't attach something or group something, it's going to cut in the original position in which it was designed. Okay? So when you attach something to it, you kind of change the design and force it to stay in that position. But that is all that grouping does. And grouping is, we've done this analogy before. Grouping is like having an apple and an orange and putting it into a bag, and then we can move that apple and orange all over the place and they move together. But when they go to the mat, I can just take them out of the bag and they're 3 separate pieces. I have the bag, the apple, and the orange. Okay? And then attaching. So the difference between grouping and attaching. And let me just ungroup that really quick. This piece has something attached to it. Attaching is more like stapling. If I staple that on, those words onto that piece of paper and send it to the mat, they're not going to come apart when they go to the mat because I stapled them together. I attached them in a form or glued them in some kind of form. Actually, a staple. I want to stay with that. So when I send it to the mat, it stays in place and it doesn't jumble up all my letters. Okay? So that's what attach does. That's the difference between your group and your attach. And then you have your weld. So if I were to weld these 2 pieces together, I'm going to offset them so that it makes sense here. And then I got to detach first. If I take these 2 pieces here and I weld them together, I'm going to come up with a whole new shape. I can't undo this. This is more like super gluing. Once I super glue this together, it goes to the mat in that shape and it's not going to come apart. I can then attach my wording to it. If I want, I can attach that on there and it will go to the mat in that manner. But I have altered the shape. When I welded it, I have made it a totally different shape. Okay? And it's the same thing if they're not touching. It's the same thing. Let me just undo. Now you can undo, but once you save and you leave the project, it's permanent. Okay? And all it's going to do is undo each step that I did, each movement that I made, as you can see. If I select these 2, and I've got to get that detached. Writing does that, so let's move that. Let's just move that out of the way. We don't need that. So if I were to even have these separated and weld, I have glued them together so they go, and you see that it changed color. Whatever color's on the bottom, that's the color it's going to change to as far as your layers go. Whichever one is on the bottom layer. Here's the top layer, the white one. Here's the bottom layer, the red one. So I glue those together and they go to the mat. So it's just like a font. So if that was an A and a B, that's what you would see over here, and they wouldn't move. They would stay in position. So that covers your group, your ungroup, your attach, because you have to attach your writing to something. If you don't and you send it over there, your writing is just going to be on a mat all by its little self. It's in here somewhere. That looks like it. This is my... It's in there. It's just going to be hard to see because it's black. But it's just going to go to the mat all by itself, and it's not going to write on anything. So if you want it to write in a specific place on your project, in a certain area, you have to put it on that object where you want it, and you have to select them, and you have to attach it. Now it's moving around, and it will stay in place. Duplicate is duplicate. If you hit it, it's going to give you a copy of what you have. Okay? And with this project, I'm going to get rid of that because you don't need that. That's just a label. You guys can search for label and it will come up. I just wanted to put it in there so that you could see it. Duplicate, like for this, I didn't bog down design space for you guys for cutting this because you're going to need multiples of this. Where this is your front and your back cover, you would need to duplicate this as many times as you needed for your project. So that's what your duplicate does, and your delete, that should be self-explanatory. Whatever's highlighted with the box around it, it is going to delete it. Okay? And let's see, contour. What does contour do? If you notice, this piece has a hole cut in it at the top. Contour removes either your inside or your outside lines. So I'm just going to explain, because we had a couple of people ask about this, why they couldn't contour something. I'm going to get a circle just to show you. And you see this circle, I do not have any contour whatsoever. Contour does not light up. There's nothing I can do to that circle to make the contour show up. And it's because that circle has one cut line, and it cuts in a circle on the outside. It has one single solitary cut line. Okay? And if I remove the cut line, it's the same thing as deleting it. So that's why you can't contour just a basic shape that has no interior cut lines. It has to have more than one cut line to use contour. If I slice this, and this is what slicing does, you can only slice 2 layers at a time. Okay? Let me align center here. So I have 2 circles here, and if you look up here in the layers panel, 1 circle here and 1 circle here. I'm going to select several pieces, and notice I've selected everything that's gray has been selected, and you notice I don't have a slice option. It's more than 2 layers. If anything is attached or grouped, that's more than 2 layers. You can't slice but 2 layers at a time. And if you notice, if I just select the 2, only the 2 are highlighted in the layers panel, and slice is available. And now I have the original piece, the piece I sliced out, and then my other original piece. And now with that selected, contour is available. And if I select it, now I have an inside and an outside cut line, and I can remove the inside cut line just by selecting it and get my circle back. I can contour and show it and take it back to the circle cut. So that's what contour does. You have to have more than 1 cut line in order to use your contour. Hey, Doris. So now we've covered group, ungroup, duplicate, delete. We've covered slice, weld, attach. What does flatten do? Flatten is going to make whatever image you choose print, then cut. And here is that label in case anybody wanted that Winter Wonderland label, M431A2, the one that I deleted because it's probably, if I hit save, it's not going to be in the file. But let's just go and let's just get a snowman. How about that? since it's Christmas time. Oh, I ain't got no snowman in there. What? It helps if you type it right. There we go. So let's see. This one looks layered. So you can see that this has got many, many, many tiny pieces. I think that one does too. I'm going to grab both of those. We're going to bring those in. And you can see in the layers panel all of these pieces here. So I can cut this and have all of those teeny tiny little pieces if I need to. Or I can select flatten and make it one layer. And it's going to be hard to see. Let me go to the canvas here and change the color of my canvas so you guys can see it. There we go. Now I have flattened him, and he is going to print, then cut. And what he's going to do is print just like you see him, and it's going to cut around the outside of the snowman, around the outside of his little hands there, and around the rest of the shape in his other hand, and come back. It's not going to cut all of these little pieces out of here. If I unflatten it and change the line type back to cut, then it's, you can see in the layers panel, everything says cut again. And let me ungroup it. And this is how it will cut, just like you see that. So if you've got tons of these little bitty pieces and you don't want it to cut that way, you can flatten your image to get it to print and cut. Some of your print and cuts can be unflattened and get the cut images, some cannot, but all of your cut images can be flattened, okay? It's just going to depend on how they designed it. Same with this one. You can see that I've got all of these teeny tiny little pieces. So if I don't want to cut all of those because I don't want to have 4 different kinds of paper and 4 different colors, I can, let me get him selected again. I can select him, I can go down here and flatten, and you can see right here it changed it to cut and print. Okay, and that's what this is here. In this, I have flattened these. I flattened 2 rectangles together. I changed the color. I did a circle and put it on there, and then another circle with the other color. I went and got a flower image, and then I took my font and I centered it all up like I wanted it, and I selected all and I flattened. So if I unflatten it, you can see that these pieces are now separate. Okay, they're all separated. This image is a print and cut image out of Access, but all of these pieces were not. You can see that this is one piece now. It will cut one. If you unflatten it, it's going to cut this circle, then this circle. This is going to print and cut, things like that. So I'm just going to undo because I don't want to have to center all of those back up. So is everybody with me on your layers panel and how to read it now? Does everybody get it? Anybody have questions that they want to ask? We're happy to answer them and show you right here on screen. And I am going to save that. So if you needed that tag, you'll have to go and look on that Wonderland cartridge. But the design number for this is 191700835, and you do need the rest of this. Again, you can go to New Project, take out the word New in the URL, and then put that number in place of New and open it up. You can't search this number in Design Space. You won't get anything. And a lot of people were saying they were having trouble seeing stuff on their screen. So if you need to change your grid lines, they were having trouble seeing the grid lines. Down here where it says blank canvas, if you just highlight it, up here at the top under color, you can come in and you can change that so that you can see your grid lines better. Okay? For whatever grid lines you have marked. Up here in the top left corner, you have right between your 2 zeros is a blank square. If you click on it, it will change your grid lines as well. So I just wanted to cover a little bit of that before we got over to the project, so you guys, for all of you newbies who are learning Design Space, don't hesitate to ask your questions. We will cover them, and we cover different parts of Design Space every live. So we will cover something. It's repetitive for some of you guys, and for some of you guys it is helping you learn. The only thing I didn't show you in the layers panel is color sync, and this is so that you can drag and drop your images into different colors. So if you've got several different colors, you can drag those in and change the color of your images. And I'm going to cancel that. I don't want to change the color of it for you guys. But that's what color sync does. So you don't have to move or change one piece at a time over here by going and selecting it and doing that. You can come over to color sync and drag and drop everything in one color to another color. So let's go and play. Yay! So Patty had asked on the last live if we could do something like a recipe, and she had one that was really cute. I don't know if you posted it in the group yet, Patty, and I had told her, I said, that's really cute, but it's not what I was picturing, so I had already had mine in the works, so I went ahead with it. And it's a little, I used chipboard. If you don't have the maker to cut chipboard, guys, you can cut this out of regular brown craft cardstock or whatever cardstock you want, really. It doesn't have to be. But I did use, to make mine durable, like a book, I did use the chipboard, the 1.5 millimeter. I did not use the heavy 2.0. I used the 1.5. And I used 110-pound cardstock because I wanted mine to be sturdy. And we've got some little divider cards in here so that you can put, if it's a main dish or a dessert, you can put a tag on there, put yourself a label on it to label these or have it right on your pretty cardstock. Don't forget you can flip it over and do recipes or extend recipes on the back. So you have several options with this. And super cute, super easy to use in the kitchen. I think Patty put measurements on the back of hers because you can cut one of these and glue it down. Instead of writing on that first page, you can glue this down and have an index. Do whatever you want. I made sure that I left these blank, guys, so if you wanted to write out a recipe and print that one and then do some others, but you're going to be limited in your space with print and cut. So, and right now, everybody using the handwriting for recipes is really in. So I was like, you know, I'm going to do away with the lines and give them something that they can either do on a copier, things like that, or handwritten so that they can clean them up and do kitchen towels, aprons, things like that that you guys have seen that you've been doing. So I chose not to put the pre-printed lines on mine for print and cut purposes because you're only going to get one or two per page if you do that. So how did we do that? You're going to need a post. And this, you can get these at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, whatever. It's a scrapbook post. You can use that. That's what I used on this one. But mine has this ugly head on both sides. So if you don't have, if you're not putting a bow or something on it like I did this one to cover it, then you're going to want one that has like a smooth top. Okay? They're 80 cents, guys. 80 cents. They come in all different thicknesses. So if you want, you can always expand these. If you've got more recipes, you can give out more recipe cards. You can cut out more, and you can keep expanding this. This 1/2 inch is a good starter, but if I wanted to make this one big book, then I would need a longer post. The one I am using is a 1/2 inch post, okay? And the hole you need for these is going to be a 1/4 inch hole. So if you're doing different shapes, you can do any shape you want to do with these. If you're doing different shapes, you need a 0.25 hole for your post. to fit, and that needs to be the same size in your recipe card as well as in your cover. Make sure that you line your cover and your recipe card up. These are not, because this was my mock-up, so that everything is nice and even. Yeah, it will lay flat on the counter for you. You're exactly right, Sue. So, and it'll fit in a drawer. It'll go on a bookshelf. Tons of things. You can put it with your other recipes. I kind of changed up the one that we're doing tonight. I had done print and cut, and I'm just going to say I don't know if they've got it fixed. If you're having trouble with print and cut, it may not be you. It could be Design Space. They are working on it, but you need to report it if you're doing print and cut and it doesn't work. I had cut these by hand. I did get one set to cut for my mock-up, but then I got to thinking I want to do a holiday, one for a holiday. So you can cut this out, your cover, out of whatever materials you want, cover it how you want, all of those things. If you don't have an Air 2 or you don't want to do chipboard and you want to do regular cardstock, guys, if you don't have the post, you can use these little clip rings. You see those? They just clip right there and hook back together. You can use those and run that right through there with cardstock. And if you have like a little hook or something on the inside of your cabinet doors or whatever, you can just hook that right in there. Okay, and you have your recipe book and you can flip through it. So you can use you can get these at Michael's too, I believe, or like I said, at the hardware store. I paid 80 cents for my post, and I know that the scrapbook post cost more than that, but I got this at Lowe's for 80 cents, and they had several different lengths. Okay. So what you're going to do is take your covers and you're going to, I'm going to decorate mine before I put everything together. So let's just go with that. And I wanted to do this one a little bit different. So the first thing I'm going to do, I don't know, I think I want to use this plaid. I'm pretty sure I want to use the plaid. Yeah, you can make this out of any shape, use any washi tapes, anything like that. I'm just going to decide about where I want that. Just pick a spot. And then I'm just going to wrap my washi tape around. Snip that off. And then for my cover, because I want them to come out even, I'm just going to put those together, and I'm going to make myself a little mark just on one side there so that I get my tape in the right place. And that's where I'm going to start this tape. I'm just going to drag it over. Oops. Pulled it right off there because I don't have it stuck yet. There we go. There we go. And washi tape is very forgiving if you're off. Yes, there we go. I'm just going to clip that, and that will be on the inside. Now, if you're doing like an index, this is when you want to glue that down, okay, over that. I'm not doing that. I'm leaving it blank so they can write notes or whatever they want on it, or if they want to change the design, they can, because they can just peel that off. Now, they're not going to be able to if you put a label on there too, but I'm kind of liking it. And then out of some scrap I cut on my vinyl, I just cut me 2 silver pieces, and my holes are not correct on these, so I'm probably not going to use them. But those are just going on there for your jar lid, just to make, I can get it off there. I've got my punch over there, I can punch it. So you just, that's the inside. Going to line it up and stick it down. You can use cardstock for that, whatever you want. This is my mock-up pieces, guys. I cut it all at one time. So I didn't want to throw it away. I was like, I can use it. You know what? There we go. Just wanted to push it through. And then the back as well. Yours is set with the right size hole in it. Like I said, I was experimenting, and it was the right hot size hole for the ring, but it was a little too tight. I have vinyl stuck to my fingers. Go away. There we go. And that's the inside, so I want to go on the outside. And you can use transfer tape if you want for this, but it's pretty easy just to line up like a sticker. Just use my pen to push it back the other way. So now you've got your front covers. I'm going to hold my decorative pieces. I'm going to start with one of my dividers, and it's up to you where you want to place your dividers. If you want them exact, you can, but a lot of people tend to have more desserts and savory than they do appetizers, so you can divide it up like you want and put your dividers in. And then you're just going to place one on the top, one on the bottom. And I am using the smooth top for the top of mine. And we're just going to thread those through. Right on the top of that post. And how many cards? I didn't count them, guys. Honestly, I think on this one I did, without the dividers, I did 18, I want to say. But it's going to depend on the thickness of your paper and how thick your paper is as to how many you are going to need. And your post. So you have to get your post and figure out, and I would just say cut at least 15, and then if you need to cut more, you can. And I'm just holding that from the bottom. And then you're going to take the part that has the slot in it, and it is threaded. We're just going to, you can screw it in with your fingers, or you can use a screwdriver. I usually just twist it down and then use my screwdriver to tighten it up. And it just needs to be finger tight. It's not going anywhere. When you can feel that spinning on the other side, you're done. So now we have our little book all ready to go. Make sure that you have your top up so that your decorative pieces where you're going to put your labels for appetizers, main dishes, desserts are all there. Or you can just use these for notepads, guys. You can make your own notepads just like this. Use regular copy paper and you'll have a notepad. Again, you don't have to use chip. I wanted to use chipboard on mine, so I'm just gonna layer up my label here. And I am going to glue this down. So this one you won't be able to peel the washi tape and redo it unless you peel the whole label. Let's see. Looks good. Customize it any way that you want. And then instead of a bow on this one, you can do a bow, but guys, if you're going to tie it around the lid, just know you don't want to go on the underneath side because that will interfere. That I tried it and it did interfere. So just make sure you glue your ribbon down across the top only. You don't want to go underneath your chip. Yeah, I was gonna do it with the stainless foil, Sue, the little silver, and then I was like, that's too silver for this. So, oops. My flowers have no sticky on the back. Let me grab a glue dot. There we go. I'm just gonna use a glue dot, and this is a permanent, I think a jumbo glue dot. I'm not sure. It doesn't like that felt flower either. Let's try that again. Maybe it was me and not the flower. Just gonna stick it down. There we go. How cute is that? Again, you can do ribbons. There's all sorts of ways that you can customize this up. Okay? Tons of things you can do. But that's ready for all the holiday recipes. Love, love, love. Yes, please, thumbs up. Guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, do all of that good stuff. Does anybody have any questions? And just to make sure that you guys got that, this is... I'm going to just show you guys the label. This is from Lowe's. This is an aluminum threaded post with a screw. 1/2-inch post. I think online they called it a Chicago screw. But you just want the post and the threaded piece. And they do come in different lengths. And if you can't find them or you don't want to go to the hardware store, all you need to do is pick up some post replacements in the scrapbook section. It's the same thing as a scrapbook post. And those also come in different lengths. But I did use a 1/2-inch for these, and you can see the different thicknesses. So I still have room to expand on this one. This one is at right about max. I could probably put a couple more sheets in it. But it's right at max. Yes, you could, Sue. Absolutely. You can make them smaller, guys. This chip was the 1.5 millimeter. And for this shape, it only took like 7 passes, and I'm going to say about 15 minutes. It didn't take long to cut at all. It was pretty quick. And like I said, you can do these with the craft cardstock instead of the chipboard. So guys, don't be intimidated if you don't have the maker. You can make that with the craft cardstock and your lighter papers. It'll work just fine. You can use, again, the rings or the post. Just depends on how. On the rings, it's not going to be taut like this. It's going to be more like a flip book. If that makes any sense. It's going to be a flip book where you can just flip them around that ring. And with this, it's just a twist rather than a flip. Okay. All right. Does anybody have any design space questions? Any other project questions? Any projects you're having problems with? All right. Let's see. I lost my calendar. Guys, I keep losing my calendar on my desktop. There it is. I know that I have Thursday up for a live, and I am still planning on doing a live on Thursday. However, I am really, really, really far behind, and I have a party for about 40 to 45 people on Saturday. If I get caught up, I am still going live on the 19th. If I don't, I'm probably going to have to cancel that. And before I realized that I had put this on the 26th, that one I know is going to be canceled because I want to give everybody a rest after the holidays. And then we'll come back on the 30th. So just so you guys know, and I will go in as soon as I get a moment and I will change that in the groups. But I think our next live is going to be on the 23rd. I'm going to do a quick last minute gift idea on the 23rd. And then we won't go live again until the 28th. So I do know that. But I'm still trying to squeeze the one for the 19th in there. How many of the front to back do I think will fit on one piece of the Cricut chipboard? I got 4 out of it. And then I still had a good size piece left, Patty, at this size. Yes, Jamie, you can use your Air 2 for that. Like I said, if you can't cut the chip, you might have another material that you may want to cut. You could use foil acetate for your front pieces and put a label on them. There are several materials that you can use. It doesn't have to be chip. But yeah, these 2 pieces, you can cut them out of whatever you want. And again, you can use just the rings for the flip rings. Put as many on there as you want. I don't even know if I have... I don't know where my piece of chip went that I cut these out of. But I had a big piece, I guess about like that, where I couldn't quite fit a 5th one on, but I did get 4 to cut out of one piece, I think. It may have been 3 and 1. If you want to squeeze them down just a little bit, you should be able to get 4 out of 1. We can go over there and take a look. Let's go over to... Yeah, I think it was 3, and then I had 1 on another. So I could cut, out of 2 sheets, I could get 3 books, I think is what it was. Let's hit make it. And go down here. Let's apply to, and yeah. Just 3. You can only get 3 on a 12 by 12 too. So you don't lose anything by having the 11 by 11. You can still only get 3 on there. So if you were to do 3 books, then you're going to get, it's going to take 2 sheets. But like I said, I wanted this size. But if you want to bump it down just a little bit in the size, you could probably get another one in there. You can get another one in. You can get 4 on one sheet. No, that's a 12-inch. Hang on. Let's try that again. Yeah, you're going to have to bump it down, because it's just not gonna sit in there on that 11-inch material. So if you can't do the 12-inch because it will interfere, but if you're doing it out of the craft cardstock or something that you do have 12-inch material on, yeah, you can get that fourth one in there, no problem. All right. Thank you guys for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know everybody is super busy right now. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, Patreons and Ko-fi supporters. I greatly appreciate you. Yeah, it's a nice size. I just wanted it to be, something that was substantial, not too small, because when we get in the kitchen and we can't pick it up to read it and it's laying on the counter, I wanted to be able to see it. So, if anybody has any questions, please ask them in the group. If you get absolutely no help throughout the holidays, guys, in the group, please tag me and I will get to you as quickly as I can. We have a great group of people, a lot of knowledgeable people in our group, not just our mods, but several people. So somebody should get an answer to you, and if you don't trust that answer or you don't think it's correct and nobody else has helped you throughout the holidays, please tag me and I will get to you as quickly as I can. All right, guys, you have a very wonderful time this week. We're all going to be super busy. I will let you know about Thursday on probably Wednesday or Thursday morning. Wednesday night, Thursday morning, I will know more whether or not I will have time to go live. So just watch the announcements for that on the live video. And I will be going live on, I said it. I had it up there and I lost it. There it is. This is a iffy. This one is definite. The 23rd is definite. 19th is iffy. And the 28th is definite. 26th is going away. I just won't have time. All right. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Everybody have fun. See you on the next one.